Your Rambler Man here. Just got done gassing up the bike at a gas station here pretty close to where I live that sells the ethanol-free gasoline. And I know everybody's got ideas about gasolines and what octane rating you should use in your motorcycle. But since this gas station has this ethanol-free gas, I just choose to put it in my motorcycle. Read a lot of articles about ethanol and how it's not really good for, motorcycle engines. I guess especially just sitting in your engine a long time over the winter could cause some problems. So I try to do little things that would help things. I don't know if it really makes that much of a difference or not, but I choose to do it. And I have to reset my trip meter here every time I gas up because my old motorcycle here does not have a fuel gauge, and so I use my trip meter as my de facto fuel gauge. And when I get to about 120, 125, it's time to get gas for me. Well, my bike's about due for its annual service. About once a year I take it into the dealer and kind of have an annual checkup done. And I thought an interesting topic that might be of interest to other motorcyclists out there would be kind of a, just a brief discussion of motorcycle maintenance and what you do to your bike to keep it in tip-top condition. And do you do the work yourself, or do you pay somebody else to do it? So I'll give you my philosophy on things, and I tell you, I'm the type of guy who tends to keep cars and trucks and motorcycles for a long time and put a lot of miles on them. And I have to give it to my dad. He taught me early about the importance of regular maintenance. And probably the biggest thing he taught me is that if you want to keep your car or your motorcycle running for a long time and the engine in good shape, just keep all the fluids changed out and keep the fluids fresh. I'm talking oil, transmission fluid, brake fluid, coolant, antifreeze, whatever fluid circulates through that engine. Do what you're supposed to do as far as changing it out and keeping it fresh. And I've kept that in mind my whole life, and I have had cars and trucks go way over 200,000 miles, and probably would have gone longer than that. I just went ahead and traded them in. I don't have that many miles, of course, on this motorcycle, but I've had it for 6 years, and again, I adhere to the same principles. I keep the oil changed, I keep the coolant changed. This is a water-cooled engine, so I keep that changed. And I've had pretty good luck, with engines over the years. I mean, I've had problems like anybody else. Anybody has anything mechanical, you're going to have some problems from time to time. But that's the primary thing that I do. And my dad, we changed oil in our cars and flushed out radiators and did all that, and I've done that on my cars and motorcycles over the years. But I do have to admit, as I've gotten older and maybe gotten a little bit more money in my pocket, I tend to let the mechanics do that now. Basically, I don't put a tremendous amount of miles on my motorcycle, and once a year I take it in and I just tell them, hey, let's just swap out the fluids. And they say, well, you really don't need this. I said, look, you know what, I only have it in once a year. Let's get new coolant, new oil. This bike is a shaft drive and there's oil in this shaft drive, so let's just change it all out. And they say, okay. And it cost me a little bit of money, but that's what I do. And then I get other things done, the clutch adjusted, and I always have them inspect the brakes. I've never really done too much of that type of work on my own, replacing brake pads and doing things like that. I would not consider myself a really skilled mechanic. I mean, I can do certain things, but I've never really done that too much. So, you know, I let the mechanics do that. And you know, a lot of people say, well, you're wasting a lot of money, you should do this yourself, you can save a lot of money. And I'm sure I probably could. It's just time and space and the effort. I just prefer to let the shop do it. Now, that doesn't guarantee it's always going to be done right. I mean, I actually had the oil changed in a car once, and the oil drain plug didn't get put back in very tight, and it worked itself loose, and oil drained out, and I almost seized up an engine. But those are the things that I concentrate on my motorcycle, keeping all the fluids changed. Now, one thing this bike does say in the owner's manual that it needs from time to time is, you know, the valve clearance is adjusted. And if I read the manual, it says really this is about time to do it. This bike is, you know, a 2005, so I mean, it's an old bike, but it's only got about 18,000 miles. And it does say that it's probably about time to do a valve clearance adjustment. And I'm thinking about getting that done. I asked the mechanic last year, and he said, well, you know, if it's running good and you're not having any problems, it starts up and it runs well. He said, I wouldn't do it. And it does. It runs just fine. So I'll have the mechanic look at it again this time and, you know, give me his opinion on whether I need to get it done or not. And you know, I probably will. I mean, I want to keep this bike in good shape and keep it running good as long as I can, you know, for the next person that owns it, and, you know, just for me, because I have no real intention of getting rid of it anytime in the immediate future. You know, it's been a great bike. I bought it used, didn't pay that much money for it, and it's given me about 6 years of really trouble-free service. Like I said, the only thing I've had done is just the routine maintenance and a couple sets of new tires. I'm on my second new set of tires on it. And that's it. So give me your thoughts on motorcycle maintenance and what you think is important and what you do and what you have done. I'd be interested to hear. Alright guys, everybody have a great week. This is George the Ramble Man. Everybody ride safe.